and Elise, Evelyn are still up and available if Jankos or Loulex want to play it, and we do know they play all three of those.
Top lane focus at the moment with that Jack's gone. Kayle still out there as well from a ban. There is the Lee Sin ban that's going to get taken away from Loulex. Will Kayle get banned out? Or I think if it sneaks through, it's going to get first pick by Roccat.
Oh, it's a consideration. The problem is then, what do they lose in reply? If they do go for the likes of a first pick Kayle, they run the risk of losing the likes of Thersh, losing the likes of the premier jungler that's left open. In my head, I think Elise or Evelyn maybe is a ban, and then the alternative first pick, but there's still two junglers available.
Well, they go for Braum. Not something we've seen VandeR playing. He's a big Thersh player. What will they go with? Xaxus on your screen there is the man to make the choice for his team. Big discussion over this one. They know there's a lot available.
Yeah, Roccat as a team have also put a lot of emphasis in the past in like first picking and early picking AD carries because of how reliant Celaver is in specific champions. At the beginning of the split and the end of last split, we've seen target bans towards Celaver and Roccat to put him on an uncomfortable champion. But yesterday, he played very, very well with Corki. He had a good performance. I believe he went unkilled 9-0, 3 if memory serves. So Celaver's going to have that in his back pocket. We also know Roccat as a team to run that Lulu top lane. Xaxus has run Lulu top lane a number of times and is continuing to do so. It is a trend that is slowly dwindling away, but we do still see it, and I think maybe a little more in Europe than most other regions, comparatively speaking.
Well, Evelyn or Elise, Jankos will be certainly comfortable. It's down to Loulex to make the choice which way he's going to force his hand. Evelyn currently being hovered over and obviously discussing what is available. You think there's the likes of Twitch out there. Lucian would be the focused one for Celaver. That's his favorite AD carry.
I'm happy you bring Twitch up because Twitch is a champion that Roccat have banned. In the first 6 games that they played of the summer split, they banned Twitch away regardless of which side they were on. And considering how popular and how prevalent Twitch was in the opening of the spring split, summer split rather, it was a strategy that was interesting to see. So Twitch definitely not going to be on the cards for Gambit. And if Celaver locks it in, it will be a surprise pick because as a team, Roccat have not necessarily shown much interest in that particular direction.
I'm just noticing how serious Roccat are in picks and bans. Normally we see them joking around at this stage. You know, Jankos was all laughing away. But there was a lot of focus on their faces. I know they've got a lot to lose, but they are trying to work their way back up that table, and they've actually been handed quite a few opportunities by the fact that everybody's beating everybody else, and they're quietly going away their win. They actually have the highest win streak in the LCS right now, which is 3 wins. 3
games on the trot. They're climbing their way back up the ladder just a little bit, and it's something that Roccat may want to continue doing. They don't want to lose the momentum that they've built up, regardless of the fact that it's 2 wins and that forfeit victory. You have predicted and talked about the Kayle pick. It is something that is very, very effective at this level of play. And what I like about Rocket's composition is they have got 2, in case of emergency, press R, save teammate buttons. You've got Lulu that can save teammates, you've got Kayle that will save teammates, you've even got Thersh that in the right positioning can pull somebody out of a bad position. So whatever Celaver wants to lock in terms of his AD carry, he could go something risky like Twitch. He's got save buttons. I'd like to see some more protection from Gambit. They've got a Kog'Maw built in, so late game scaling is going to be very effective. And also, whatever Gambit want to run in this top lane, are they going to go with a Shyvana? Do they want to run a Trundle? You know, buy some time, mitigate and slow down the rest of the enemies, or are they going to go aggressive? I mean, there's a number of options they can go for.
Well, looks like aggression will be the choice. It's going to be Aatrox in that top lane, and Hiiva, who played Zyra yesterday, worked out pretty well, held out, stalled out Fnatic for a long period of time. It wasn't quite to be for him in that game, but not a bad choice. This is the last time we saw support Zyra. Oh, I'm trying to think. NYM, we used to run it a hell of a lot. I can't think of anyone this season.
We've seen it a few fringe cases this split, but not frequently. I remember N-Rated actually played it in week 1 or week 2. The thing that I liked about Hiiva Zyra yesterday is the threat of Stranglethorns under turrets is what stalled the game out. Fnatic were not willing to overcommit to fights or push through the Zyra because they would have to invest a whole lot. And if it went a little bit awry, they would have been in a lot of trouble. And this is a similar situation. Aatrox can jump in with the support of Evelyn. You put a Stranglethorns down, and that's a lot of threat and protection for Kog'Maw, assuming they're up and alive.
Yeah, it's going to be a Nidalee, I think, for Gambit as well. We can see Lucian and Elise, no surprises, falling back to what they know, Roccat here, and they actually have a very good team comp. my impression. Gambit, will they fall to...
Let's see. Let's touch on Roccat very quickly.
It's gonna be that. Hiiva's just having fun.
Touch on Roccat very quickly. Look at that smug.
Look at the right smile.
Yeah, that was very smug. So Elise locked in for VandeR, rather for Jankos by VandeR. That is what we expected. It is the sort of holy trinity of junglers. The one thing that I think Roccat are...
Not doing themselves any favors with the crowd, these guys.
The one thing that I think Roccat are lacking a little in this particular composition is safe engage. They're going to be relying on single target skill shots from Thersh, from Elise, or alternatively Kayle just running all the way in and getting that wild growth down. For Gambit, there is a clear initiation with Aatrox on the front line, with Evelyn flanking, and with the potential and the threat of that Stranglethorns. But again, the key for Gambit is making sure they don't fall behind early. If Aatrox or Kog don't hit their power spike in the right time, and if they're not on the same page with their flanking engagements, it can go backwards very quickly because of all of the saves that Roccat have on their team.
Nidalee locked in, so no surprises there. Gambit going with fairly similar comp to what they ran yesterday. But as you mentioned, Roccat, they have a very strong composition. I had a feeling if that KO was allowed available, but Xaxus on Lulu as well. A lot of damage, a lot of range poke, and actually a lot to deal with those spears.
Yes, that's the truth. You've got shields, you've got heals, you've got movement speed, so there is a lot of abilities to dodge, dip, duck, dive, whatever's required to get away from those javelin tosses. But again, for me, it's all about the flanks and the timing on Gambit's engages, because if they do get a good Evelyn Agony's Embrace into a knock-up from Aatrox, which could theoretically lead to a knock-up from Zyra, there's the potential of completely zoning out multiple members of Roccat. You can kill them before they even land, if you time it correctly. But this is a group of solo queue players. Whether or not they have that level of cohesion and coordination needs to be seen in game.
Well, now that the lineups are locked in, do you guys at home still think Gambit will win? Tell us who has the advantage by tweeting hashtag ROC win or hashtag GMB win to LOL Esports, and we'll, of course, check the results once the game is underway. What do you feel overall? Where's your heart tugging you on this one?
I think both teams have got a lot of things going for them. This isn't a clear-cut, I prefer X composition. The only concern that I have for Gambit is how do they deal with wild growth and intervention? And can they make use of their mid-game power that Aatrox and Nidalee will afford them to circumnavigate the Lulu and Kayle late-game power? Because if Lulu gets to that very late-game point where she's got all that utility, all the movement speed, and Kayle has got the ability to maybe go full mimer,
we saw it from Miami, yeah, exactly.
And beat the crap out of people. Yeah. It is definitely a scary potential.
13-5 yesterday, minor on Kayle. Let's see if Overpow can match that. As game one of the European LCS gets underway here in London. And it is Roccat starting out as the blue team, up against Gambit playing as the red team. So, let's see if they have any level 1 play, any tricks in their bag. Gambit are grouping here. And they did actually go fairly aggressive. They went to get those deep wards against Fnatic yesterday, and it seems they're going to try and do the same against Roccat. Yeah,
and the one thing I want to highlight is how effective Nick's spears were yesterday against Fnatic. If Roccat take another 45, 47 minutes to try and push for a victory, Nick's spears will be doing even more. So we need to keep a close eye on Nick. He does have the ability to change the flow and change the outcome of games. And Gambit with a very heavy engage, not necessarily finding anyone yet, but here they come from the sidelines. They jumped in.
Oh, they pile on, and he flashed out Xaxus there. So that's one flash down. Can they get on towards VandeR? VandeR, no. Instead, Roccat are going to try and turn this one back around. They're going aggressive in towards them. Death Sensor's thrown out, does not land. Loulex taking some damage around the back there. Celaver in between them, and Roccat are in between a rock and a hard place. VandeR flashes away. Cabochard diving in again. Ignite being used on them. It's back and forth. Celaver trying to pull some damage around the side. Gambit not really sure which way they're going here. Cabochard with that Bloodwell available. Ignite down. It's going to get forced out. Bloodwell will pop.
He can jump. He can jump.
He's going to try and jump across the side, but he's going to jump straight across the Roccat. And Celaver is there. Lands himself first blood.
So Gambit overcommit to the invade. They got completely surrounded, and yes, Roccat got first blood, but look at all of the summoner spells. Flash on Xaxus down, Flash Ignite down for Overpow, Flash Ignite down for VandeR. If Loulex can punish the laning phase for the next few minutes, there are enough summoner spells blown on Rockat's side to potentially even out that kill score. The only thing I didn't like about Rockat's you know, sort of counter invade was the fact that they were so indecisive. Xaxus flashed and ran away. Then VandeR got caught in the red pit. Then he had to flash away early. It felt like the team decision was somewhat delayed. They end up coming out ahead in terms of kill and gold, but it's a summoner spells that could dictate the next 5 minutes of gameplay.
I've had a lane switch around here, and also Xaxus being given the blue buff. So Jankos with that red as well, so trading buffs between the two. So we'll see whether Xaxus goes down towards that bottom. Of course, Xaxus with the blue buff probably could keep Fury and Hiiva at bay quite simply in that 2v1.
Yeah, I think so too. With the glitter lances and the wave control that he has, he could dictate the tempo of the lane. But because Roccat have initiated the lane swap, you see how aggressive they're playing. They're going to have the support of their mid laner and AD carry if they need to. And that's a good hook.
Death sentence comes in. Jankos was not ready to follow that through though. Didn't have Cocoon leveled up. They went for the spider early on. Overpowering this mid lane up against Nick. We'll see how this one works out. And then Nick's going to have his work cut out here. He's going to have to farm hard and fast up against the Kayle.
So there's two things that Roccat are doing against an Evelyn which I like. Number one, they've initiated the lane swap. So they can force Loulex's hand to either defend the tower or obviously go for the opposite tower dive on Xaxus. In addition to that, because of the numbers advantage, Jankos is declaring ownership of the top half of the jungle. So he's put some deep wards down, he's got the support of his top lane, and he's trying to move around. Notice how Loulex and Cabochard are looking for the dive, because this is one of the only options available. They've jumped on Xaxus.
He's going to jump on him, but he can just walk away from that one. Good timing by Xaxus. His spider sense is tingling, manages to put the ward down the try, but just as they come around, it does mean that the Dragon's going to get started off very early on for Gambit in here. Would be a 4-minute Dragon if they can take it down, and there's no reaction from Roccat.
No, there can't be. They simply don't have the numbers to contest this. So this is obviously the risk of going Lucian. Oh, this is so brave for Xaxus.
He could cause some serious problems.
If he gets caught by any CC, he's going to go down.
Glitter Lance on towards him potentially. Spears coming across the side there. There is a Glitter Lance. Loulex tanking it up, and Xaxus now in trouble. Remember, he has that blue buff. He's got nowhere to run. And that was a gift for Fury, honestly. Not too sure what he was hoping to achieve.
Yeah, there was not enough support. Even if Overpow had made it in, they maybe could have traded 1-for-1, but they still would have lost the Dragon at the end of the day. So Gambit going to secure themselves a kill. Note, it was Xaxus that burned his flash on the invade early. Not having that flash means he gets caught out, but he was very overextended anyway, and probably should have been a little more cautious in that role. So Gambit with an immediate reply.
And he teleported onto a ward there, not the tower, so that's a 300-second instead of 200-second cooldown. So, and it got spotted out, and of course, at the moment he came in, so he got literally nothing from it. So Roccat, a little bit shaky despite getting that first blood locked in. Top lane, of course, we saw Cabochard teleporting to top there to make sure he could clear out that wave. Goes straight back, gets himself a second Doran's Blade now. Makes his way back towards the top lane. So Gambit, we mentioned it yesterday against Fnatic. If they can do well in the lane phase, essentially they are a solo queue team right now. They can cause problems for a team. We saw it against Fnatic. Fnatic struggled to close the game out despite dominating the first 20 minutes. That game went on for 48 minutes.
Yeah, it really did. And it's all on Gambit, you know, to make positive plays. That Dragon is one, and diving on Celaver and VandeR looks like another.
He's got his Bloodwell back available, feeling very confident on Aatrox here. Cabochard, Xaxus caught out, grasping root. Good slow from Fury as well, but he chooses not to follow it up instead. He wants to get that CS, but Xaxus, he's having a lot of problems down this bottom lane. That's
such good damage from Hiiva and Fury. Just very good positioning from Hiiva to allow the grasping roots to lock Xaxus down. And it was Hiiva that I believe was, in my opinion, was very instrumental in yesterday's delay. You know, his threat. Oh, Loulex has found VandeR.
Oh, he just walked in. I think he did an attack move on towards him. He gets the flay down. Is the ignite's going to be enough to take him down? VandeR gets a return kill.
So close. That ignite had just become available a few seconds prior, and I thought it was Loulex finding VandeR, and it was the crowd control from VandeR that actually allowed him to get the kill. So Roccat, another very quick reply, and it looks like it's tower defense for both of the respective junglers. Loulex was trying to just hold out in their top lane, and unfortunately got caught out. These are level 6 mid laners, keep that in mind.
Oh, Nick going straight in towards Overpow. Overpow does have intervention, remember, he could have turned his damage back around on Nick. Nick tries to heal himself up. Is the spear going to land? It's very close range. Ignite goes down. Overpow chooses not to follow, but Nick definitely coming out behind in that trade.
Yeah, very smart play from Overpow. He didn't waste that intervention, because of course he's looking for that last spear, that last tick of damage that would kill him before he ends up using it, but he did burn his ignite. Summoner heal still available for Nick, so if they get caught out again, Overpow is one combat summoner down and may not be able to secure the kill. Loulex on the pink ward. We'll have to get back to that later. As promised.
Well, Gambit were the ones that started it technically yesterday, so we'll see how this one progresses throughout the day. So, blue buff. Can Nick get this one? He needs it, that's for sure. Loulex should gift him across, but we saw this one actually messed up by Fnatic yesterday.
Yes, Cyanide accidentally getting that blue buff. He was an Elise, actually. I think it was a Spiderling that took that last tick of damage. For me, I think with this tower going down in the top lane, Roccat should consider swapping Celaver and VandeR to the bottom lane to primarily get presence for the next Dragon. Remember, Dragon was picked up around 3.5, 4 minutes, and if Roccat have got a superior numbers in that area of the map, then they could obviously contest for that objective. We'll see if they agree. And Xaxus again, all of that damage from Hiiva, but Hiiva's got no mana. He's burning through his whole mana pool to try and deny Xaxus. Xaxus is not that far behind in CS. He's only 200 gold down, which is the difference of that assist and the Dragon. So he hasn't been shut out quite as much as it may look if you look at his HP bar.
So Overpow back in that mid lane, clearing out the wave, and Nick once again doing a fantastic job keeping up that CS alongside Overpow, so both fairly even. And if I look across all the lanes, it's really just the AD carries that have the lead. Fury ahead of Celaver. Celaver pretty much had his own time in this top lane up against Cabochard for a long period of game. You can see he's just holding out, keeping that wave. Fury doing exactly the same, but he's making sure the tower does not take the CS, which he just did right there. Right on cue. Triple Doran's ring for Xaxus. Really is struggling in that bottom lane.
Yeah, he is, but it's also not uncommon for top lane Lulus. I know Soaz in particular, who was one of the biggest players of top lane Lulu, always went triple Dorans into the likes of an Athenes. I think Athenes would be a very smart pickup for Xaxus because of all the magic damage from Eve, from Nidalee, from Kog, and from Zyra. Yesterday we seen Fnatic going to Morella Nomicons and foregoing the Athenes because they didn't need the MR. They just needed the cooldown reduction, the mana regen, etc. But we'll have to see how Xaxus decides to itemize VandeR. He wants Loulex.
He's going to come across. Deathsentence is so close. He's going to defend his ground here. He wants that ward.
He got it.
Gets that ward.
He got it. Counters frost.
You know what's worrying for me is the fact that they allowed for a ward going down in the tower. Because the tower's an objective in this game.
Well, D-Man's calling you guys out.
About that.
D-Man is calling you guys out.
It's not even the English crowd, it's like every crowd. It's just a thing.
So I just want to say, Hiiva has landed every single grasping move you've seen in this laning phase. Jankos tries to come in for a gank and instantly gets shut down, instantly gets rooted in place. So Hiiva's he's off to a good start.
Cancelled the attack animation first time.
Hiiva does not have Stranglethorns. He's not level 6. So take a look at Roccat. They have repositioned themselves. They do have Celaver and VandeR available in the bottom lane. They also have Jankos available, so they may look to challenge this Dragon. But I think they're going to be too late. This is getting melted. Yeah, it's gone.
I can only imagine the anger and fury on Reddit right now with you guys.
Well,
oh my God.
Stop sparking it. Let them be.
They love the wards. They love the wards. It's all good.
Roccat, good theory. They had the right members in the right area of the map. Too slow to react. It's what we seen yesterday. It's why they took so long to beat Millennium. They were just too indecisive in actually starting engages or starting objective fights, and that's why they lost that second Dragon. Celaver doing well in this 1v2.
Yeah, they're suddenly realizing he's got a little bit more teeth than Xaxus has. He turned that straight back around, put the culling onto Fury, and Hiiva putting some damage down again, just dodging out of that, and quite happily to take the 5 gold every time the plants get thrown in front of him, give himself an extra CS. Not that it really counts too much for the gold. As it stands at the moment, lanes very even across the board. CS-wise, it's not too big of an advantage across the board. Xaxus has actually stepped ahead of Cabochard briefly. So we'll see whether that one sticks around. Jankos will get spotted out. There is a ward in that bush, so he's not exactly sneaking in here, which is why we're also seeing Loulex making his way down towards the tower.
So what I like from Roccat is their vision game is very good. They do have a number of wards on both the top and bottom half of the map, whereas Gambit, their vision is centralized around Dragon. The fact that they went for such an early Dragon, and from knowing the regular Gambit players, they put a lot of emphasis on the objective, and their vision tells the same story. Roccat, however, have got the top lane unlocked for a moment or two. Ooh, Celaver's taking a lot of poke from Fury.
The range advantage you do have on Kog'Maw. We also saw a little attempt at a gank in that mid lane. Roccat's starting to start roaming the lanes here. They want to start looking to try and open up Gambit a little bit.
And what I like about them is they're sniffing out opportunities. They are using their numbers advantage because they gave up some top lane presence. Xaxus was moving with the team in the middle and the bottom, and they were looking for towers. They haven't taken an objective yet, but they have created some opportunities, they've created some damage, and they are playing the pressure game. You know, they're trying to force Gambit to react and then looking for weakness in their armor.
We're going to see if they can create an opening in this mid lane, but Celaver's been given a gift in the bottom. He's got himself a free lane. Look out towards the sweeping lenses being picked up all across. And of course, Roccat trying to get full vision here over Gambit. We saw Fnatic doing the same yesterday.
Exactly what I wanted to say. Yesterday, Fnatic, when they played the heavy invade game, they went for 4 sweeping lenses and a scrying orb. We see the same strategy from Roccat, however, they are not as committed to the heavy invade. They are not as committed to the full pressure. You see in the little picture-in-picture, just a little bit of ward just around the corner. Line of sight is not there, so unfortunately Pink Ward doesn't spot Gambit's ward and has timed out.
Summoner's Rift upgrade coming to your game soon.
Caution, caution.
It's on beta test already.
It is.
It's out there. You guys can test it right now. At the moment though, Fury going aggressive. Celaver trying to get some aggression. Didn't expect the 2 tower hits to do quite so much damage though. Heal was used by Fury though.
Yeah, summon spell blown. So again, same story, just Celaver's doing pretty good. He is falling behind in CS to Fury, which is not good because Kog'Maw will eventually outscale him in terms of sheer damage and of course range and poke. So it's something that Roccat needs to be a little careful of. But as we said, Roccat with all of the shenanigans, all of the movement from 3-4 minutes ago, they got some vision down, and they have found Gambit a little bit out of position. Celaver forced Fury away. Nick was out of position in the mid lane, and Roccat picked up 2 quick towers. They did the same yesterday against Millennium. This is where they struggle, getting past those inner towers.
We'll see whether they manage to actually rotate and get into position this time around. Roccat keeping that pressure on. Nick was briefly making his way down south, but already you can see Roccat are backing away from that one. Xaxus in the top lane, he should be able to motor through this wave of minions in the top. No problems for him with that Glitter Lance, although nearly missed it on that one.
Well, Xaxus hasn't gone back to shop in an extended period of time. He's a small CS behind Cabochard, and he's sitting on nearly 2,000 gold. So he's been landing, if you look at Overpow, he's got 3,600 gold. He hasn't gone left the mid lane since picking up those Berserker's Greaves. So we're finally going to see what he's actually going to shop, what he's going to itemize towards, and we're obviously going to assume it's going to be towards that Nash's tooth. So we'll take a look at the items and see what they've caught out, and he has a 2v2.
We'll see whether VandeR can catch anyone out here. Celaver giving chase, and that spear will stop him dead in his tracks. And this is what we're expecting to see. Nick has to be on point with his spears. That was very close, Celaver.
That was very close indeed. Celaver may not have been killed by, but that would have been within inches of his life. And Nick's Nidalee is very good. You know, he landed some good spears against Fnatic. He's already landed some good ones against Roccat. And I would dare say those spears are going to put a hesitation on Rockat's deeper play, because if they do go under towers and take too many spears, the shields from Lulu and the heals from Kayle can be overrun by back-to-back javelin tosses.
Sweeping lenses being found out all across the board. This is happening. It's carnage, ladies and gentlemen. Continue to go through.
I'm not sure whether or not to
I think the camera guys, they're feeling pretty safe back there right now, but I don't think they're going to come out of here, that's for sure.
Yeah, let's not point out their location. Let's not point out the location. Roccat obviously playing the vision game. 10 seconds till Dragon comes up. The very important thing to note is Roccat are now finally in a position to actually challenge. They were far too late to the second attempt, and they will be relying on Xaxus' teleport if the fight breaks out soon, but he has actually left that top lane. So we may see Roccat coming with a little bit of a pincer move. And as long as Celaver doesn't go in too early, they do have the potential to, you know, have a fight go their way, but they can't afford to get caught out of position. They're going to go in on Gambit.
Oh, they didn't manage to land the lockup, but Loulex has been found out. Oh, he flashed it just at the right time. Overpow caught them all, though. Intervention going down very early. Jankos has gone in, and again, a little bit disjointed Roccat here. Jankos gets bounced in the air by Cabochard, but they just don't have enough damage back and forth. Those spears could lock him up. Death sentence on Nick. He's got next to no mana either. Back and forth action, nobody going down. VandeR, though, has been singled out. The spear catches on. Cabochard gets a slowdown on him. He's going to go down. The flash is not enough to get away. Cabochard Cabochard picks up the kill.
So another kill to Gambit that should allow them to secure the Dragon uncontested. We talked about Roccat and how their initiation power is reliant on a Cocoon, a Glitter Lance, or a Death Sentence, and they didn't hold Gambit in place for long enough. A good flank by Overpow, but he simply doesn't have the items or the damage to shred through multiple Gambit members yet. So at the end of it, Gambit come out ahead and extend their gold lead ever so slightly.
Yeah, a couple of thousand gold on the two support and AD carry. Check this out though.
So I like Overpow's positioning. He not only avoids the Stranglethorns, but he's got a lot of auto attacks down, but he doesn't have the items to commit to the rest of the fight. Not the greatest of boxes from VandeR from an aggressive standpoint, but it did reduce the aggression play from Gambit. They didn't want to chase through that. But I do think that if Roccat want to go for those plays, they need to wait for a Death Sentence or a Cocoon to land. They can't simply open up with culling and hope that Gambit will stick around long enough to take all the damage.
Yeah, that's just not going to work out for them, and that's another Dragon, actually, for Gambit, which is keeping them very much in this game, keeping them ahead in gold. Pink Ward shows out that wall placement. It's going to be blue buff given across to Nick. Question is, though, will Roccat try and intervene? Overpow finds himself another one. He's going to come around the side there. They're going to try and steal this away. He didn't quite have vision. Well, he did, actually, a ton of light. Yeah. He's the scrying orb to get vision of that one, but wasn't close enough to land the skill shot.
Yeah, I think Roccat need to find some slightly better dancing shoes this game, because they have taken a lot of spears already, and Nick hasn't even hit...
They've taken lessons from Yellowstar.
A big... hasn't hit a big power spike. He's still working himself towards that death cap. Only 1,000 gold with Nick at the moment, so he's still a while away from having those very high impact spears. But he's hit multiple targets onto the likes of Celaver, VandeR, etc. And that's allowing them to reduce the threat of Roccat. Roccat haven't pushed past that front tower for the last 5 or 6 minutes, and considering how active they were in the first 15 minutes, it is quite a change. It's Gambit regaining some control of the tempo.
Okay, so let's talk about late game, because these guys are in 20 minutes. Obviously moving into the mid game, late game. Of course, we know Kayle's going to be a beast. Kog'Maw is going to be a beast as well, though. He can counteract it quite well if he can stay away. But what protection has he got? Not a lot.
It all comes down to positioning. If Gambit are going to engage a fight, they need to ensure that Loulex has a good flank, and the Stranglethorns and Grasping Roots from Hiiva's Zyra are going to be imperative to keeping Nidalee and Kog'Maw alive. If Roccat are able to be mobile, use Repel, use the Whimsy from Lulu, use the Speed Boost from Kayle, and get over that Stranglethorns, that's when Gambit gets into trouble. So for me, it's all about positioning. Both teams have the damage and the ability to completely deal with their opponents, but only if Gambit can actually flank correctly and delay Roccat from hitting the carries.
Roccat seem to have hit a bit of a hard rock right now. They're doing the same thing 3 times running, pushed in towards that mid lane, realize they're up against Gambit, can't push through, everybody backs away again.
On the same token, it's not the end of the world for Roccat, because they want Lulu and Kayle both to scale.
Yeah.
They want both of them to get more items, ideally looking for Jankos to get even more tanky, maybe get himself towards a Randuin's Omen or something similar to stick to the backline more. And I think both teams have got very good late game scaling. And it's just going to come down to who can outposition their opponents. For now, it's Cabochard making the plays.
Yeah, nobody dealing with Cabochard, nobody reacting to it. Xaxus had gone down the bottom to push that wave in. That's already been cleared out by Fury. That's a simple tower for Gambit. The first one of the game, I might add, that they've picked up.
And, with the Dragon Gold they've already got, and the control they've got of the Dragon area, it's actually a very positive position for Gambit to be in. And Roccat, I think Roccat needs to just look for more proactive picks. If you get Elise or Thersh onto single targets of Gambit, they will go down. And the key is just encouraging Gambit to be in lanes where Roccat can dive, where Roccat can find those picks. Lulu, we've seen yesterday playing somewhat of a split push role, can do fairly well in that role because of the movement speed and the safety that Wild Growth gives you. So you play a little bit of a bait, let Xaxus push a lane out. As somebody comes to deal with Xaxus, Jankos, Overpow, or VandeR are then there to help out, try to secure a kill, and try to mitigate the map control that Gambit currently have.
Spears continuing to flow through as Nick switches into Cougar, clears out the wave. Loulex looking to start trying to make some inroads into the Roccat base. They haven't really touched this middle tower. That's maybe the next focus that they want to get towards that bottom turret as well, standing still. But a lot of Gambit members coming around here. Fury gets some free time on towards it, he certainly will do a lot of damage.
Yeah, he certainly will. And I think Gambit are quite well aware of their reduced wave clear than Roccat. So if Roccat do eventually begin sieging, with proper vision around the flanks, so to deny a Loulex fight start, I think Roccat could probably force Gambit's hands, you know? Try playing through the jungle, rotate from mid-inner to bottom-inner. And that might be a way for Roccat to encourage mistakes from Gambit. Dragon's respawning, and I think Gambit, they're too split up to have the superior positioning. And it looks like Roccat definitely want to contest.
So while this has been happening, while they've been pushing, dilly-dally, doing nothing for 10 minutes basically, every single time, Fury gets to the bottom, gets himself an entire wave. Dragon's going to be up in 20 seconds. He's actually gained a big CS advantage over Celaver in this time. He was behind at one point. Now, Gambit moving back in. Dragon up in 14 seconds. They've got to be careful they don't give up the mid tower here, though, because Overpow's pushing the mid.
Yeah, it looks like Roccat are playing the lane game. Trading a tower for a Dragon, I think, is very smart for Roccat, because it opens up access to the jungle and the inner turret. The Gambit have peeled away. They've come to defend. Let's see if Roccat stick around after the minion wave dies.
Well, the spear doesn't land. They do get a big chunk of damage onto that tower. Gambit slow to react on that one, and they ping back straight on towards the tower. Minion wave has been pushed out. I've got a feeling if they go back towards that Dragon, Roccat is just going to go straight back in there and take that tower down.
Yeah, they really can. And of course, if Jankos is the one that starts off tanking the turret, he can just drop the aggro thanks to his repel. Their centers, they've caught Loulex. He's gone in!
He's gone in towards it. Loulex is going to take all that front-loading damage, but he's actually safe for now, and he gets that big shield going off towards him. Overpow, intervention, saves his life. Hiiva's being focused on with Celaver. Celaver's got to be careful he doesn't get singled out of the side. He's away from his team, and everybody again steps away. But this time, Roccat are in a much stronger position.
So important for Gambit that Stranglethorns is able to stop every single member of Roccat. Celaver ran around the left-hand side of the lane because he didn't want to get caught by that Stranglethorn. And we talked about how difficult it is for Gambit to kill people through the wild growth and the intervention. Roccat get away. I actually think if Roccat had stuck around, Gambit had the damage to still finish that out. Nick was untouched, Fury was untouched, and they'd force Xaxus and Overpow low and to blow all of their ultimates. Gambit has started Dragon. There's not a lot of ultimates available. It has to be a pick for Roccat to contest.
Very risky, but they get the Dragon down very quickly. Nick, no mess in there. You could tell who was making the calls, instantly ran towards it, but it may well have lost in this middle turret. Overpow, he's managed to heal himself back up there. Hiiva comes around. Oh, he's caught by a cocoon. Deathlet just misses the cocoon. I don't know how the hell he missed that, but nevertheless, the tower goes down.
Yeah, unfortunately, not going to connect. They're not over yet. Fury wants VandeR.
He's going to try and catch on towards him. Nick's coming through. Spear is going to be ready in a moment. He's going to switch out of Cougar form. That's not Jankos. There's minions. The spiders are just about holding him on there. The culling coming through as well. Spear doesn't land again. Cabochard giving chase on towards Jankos. He goes towards that Baron pit. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, the Spear dodged out there. Fury's been caught out. Overpow's going to lock him down. He gets him down. Meanwhile, Jankos did get taken out by Cabochard. It's a 1-for-1 trade. And they're going to keep on pushing. 1-for-1 at the end of the day. It was Overpow with a very aggressive flash ignite. That got, that's another one. Nick with the homing spears. Gambit are going to keep chasing. Oh, he dumpsters on towards him, but it's not enough there. Good play from VandeR. Dodges out of the spear. Celaver's going to get caught with the slow. Nick's going to look to land another spear. That minion wave is just defending him for now. Can he throw it towards him? He's going to dodge out in the tower. Can they push on this mid turret? They've got the minions with them.
Gambit do have the minion wave. Celaver's still fairly healthy with flash and heal, so he may stick around. If he gets caught by the knockup of Cabochard, he's in trouble.
He's going to get caught out. He's going to get towards it. Intervention goes down from Overpow. Locks on towards him. Loulex gets on towards Celaver's not going to be focused. Overpow will. Wow. And Cabochard. Oh my god. Overpow gets 2 down. Celaver clears it out. Wow! They really should have gone for the tower.
If Overpow had not gone for the Runar's Hurricane and his second item before finishing that, rather, if he hadn't got the Runar's Hurricane as quickly as he did, he wouldn't have been able to get all of that AoE damage. He was hitting so many targets and shredding them down. Gambit overcommit to the dive, and the intervention was massive. Roccat get the kills, they're going to secure this Baron uncontested and have a very solid stranglehold on the game.
You can see here, that's just how close it's got.
Just take a look at how many auto attacks Overpow is hitting. So we're in slow-mo. Where are the Runar's Hurricane bolts? And the backline Celaver. That's just a double auto attack. Melting through them. And very, very well played. Baited from Overpow. He waited for Gambit to dive onto Celaver and threw that intervention down.
So first Baron of the game goes to Roccat. Despite the fact they've lost 4 of those dragons, it does mean that the goal is still incredibly close. Gambit not out of this one by a long shot. Just overcommitting, as you mentioned there, for a little too long. They need to get themselves some vision down though. Roccat have good ward control in and around that Baron pit area, and they could push forward now they have this buff on.
And this is something that happened yesterday when Mima got multiple kills. He got a few kills at the early to mid-game stage of the game, got an item crescendo, and then just began to dominate the game. Overpower's already had a good flank on Gambit's positioning and was unable to kill anybody because he didn't have the items. Now he has the items. He just picked up a Void Staff after that last back, and with the regen and the stats from Baron, you see how quickly he heals that spear, the javelin toss-up. So Roccat now should look to siege.
Oh dear.
Back on topic, Roccat didn't siege yesterday, and they've got all of the tools they need to deal with Nidalee. They need to just ensure they have the vision to deal with Loulex and don't overcommit for Stranglethorns of Hiiva. Those are the big worries, the big concerns for them, because Cabochard has only got a Spirit Visage. He's not super tanky at this stage of time. He will get melted by all of the damage sources of Roccat.
Absolutely need to make sure they don't get picked off as well. It's a dangerous move in that jungle area as Roccat make their way towards this bottom inner turret. They could siege it out if they wanted, I feel. They're not too risky though. Good wave clear from Gambit. They should be able to keep these minions at bay. Roccat are going to have to make a concerted effort. You can see Celaver trying to push in there, but kind of on his own.
As Celaver has been doing a few times this game, he's definitely been going a little bit Rambo, but it's working for him. You know, he played aggressive on Corki yesterday. He's playing aggressive on his Lucian, and he's doing well. Even that small CS deficit he had behind Fury is now obviously mitigated. And look at the positioning. Roccat are pushing mid lane and bottom lane. They're playing the minion waves, and they're trying to force Gambit. Oh, they've caught Nick!
Oh, they've hooked him in. He's going to have to bounce away from this one. Stranglethorn's forced out. That's going to bounce VandeR in the air. They've got no follow through. The spear does land on him, though. Roccat, they could push on towards the tower here. They've got a good minion wave.
It has to be a push now for Roccat. They should know the cooldown of that Stranglethorns, and this window of opportunity is very juicy for them. There's minions middle, there's minions top, and Roccat can have their pick of the litter in which lane they want to push next.
Yeah, Overpow heads straight up towards the top. The rest of the team go towards the middle. They can clear the waves out and keep it pushing with this Baron buff around about 80 seconds left on it, still counting down. Gambit actually going to look. They're going to try and single out Overpow. They can see if they can 3v on him.
This is going to be scary. He does have intervention available. Let's see how early he uses it.
Cabochard Bloodwell came up just at the right time. Pops the ultimate down. Intervention goes down. Can he take him all out before? He may be able to. Cabochard's low, but it's not going to be enough. The tower damage is there. Cabochard takes him out. The rest of the Roccat, though, they're closing in towards this one. Gambit have to back away from the tower.
Yeah, they really do. If Roccat manage to secure the tower, it will be worth it. A kill, or a death rather, for the objective is a trade they should take any day of the week. Unfortunately for Overpow, he just took too much tower damage, and that was a good spear from Nick once again to defend a objective for Gambit.
Yeah, that's one spear. Will stop that attack in its tracks. Baron buff about to wear out. Dragon will be up in 18 seconds. Let's see whether Gambit make the move. They look like they're going to try and push out here.
So for Gambit, they need to make sure they catch Roccat and kill somebody maybe before Overpow can get on them. Overpow was in a 1v3 eventually, but he melted through Cabochard's HP and Loulex's HP.
Look at this.
While under pressure.
They've noticed it. They've just walked straight past two pink wards. Nobody noticed it. Immediately, Roccat responding, going straight back towards that top lane. They're going to get it.
Yeah, it should just be a trade. Hiiva needs to be very careful. He shouldn't stick around. The tower killers, Celaver is there as well. So objective for objective. 5 out of 5 dragons for Gambit, and it's still keeping them minutely in the lead as far as gold is concerned. They are 4 towers down. If Gambit ever gets some map presence past their own river, they can actually pull ahead in terms of total gold. But for the time being, it's really been Roccat. They have actually played a lot more decisively and a lot more aggressively than we've seen yesterday at the same stage of the game.
And the problem was you saw 3 members, 3v1 on Overpow, and just how much damage he turned around while tanking the turret. He nearly took 2 of those down, which is going to be a problem. That Rabadon's death cap is not too far away, and he's almost hit level 18. Highest level on the map by some way, 2 levels ahead of everyone else.
So for Roccat, the difficulty now actually becomes even greater. To break through an inhibitor turret while dealing with the Zyra, as well as, you know, the Void Ooze from Kog'Maw and the Nidalee spears, is very difficult. Roccat need to force Gambit's hands, maybe playing the Baron dance, maybe trying to pull Gambit towards them. If they can bait out a Evelyn ultimate, or a Zyra ultimate. That's the key to going for a potential tower dive or going to push a tower down. While all of Gambit's abilities are available, it's very risky to get through that line. And in order for Roccat to do that, they need to play exactly as they did for those last 2 inner turrets. Vision in the jungle and force Gambit's hand. It looks like Roccat are trying to set that up with a couple of deep wards around the Baron pit as it's a minute away from spawn.
Screen orb used there, and actually Jankos has been separated. Shield way too late on that one. Xaxus there gets healed off from Overpow though. And Jankos trying to catch on towards Loulex. Will clear out that vision again. Jankos trying to get in towards it. Cocoon will land on Fury, won't get followed up by Roccat, but this is a tense moment. Remember, both these teams equal on gold right now. No buff bonuses. This is a straight-up brawl. Yeah, and Gambit can continue to stall this out because the minions are working in their favor. Both top and bottom are pushing against Roccat until Overpow just moved to deal with that top lane. So Gambit were, for the time being, happy to stall that one out. And again, they're not looking to have a straight-up, like, dive onto Overpow. They either have to pop Overpow instantly, or they're just going to sneak a tower because Roccat are out of position stealing a red buff. That's not a great trade. Yeah, they went for red buff for a tower. They may be looking to try and get around them, but Gambit actually pretty clear in their decision-making there. Just pushing straight through that mid lane, gets himself the 3rd tower of the game. They're now 6-3 in turrets. Baron, though, that's going to be up in 12 seconds' time, and that's almost certainly a focus objective for Roccat. Let's see if Gambit can get some vision in there. You can see Xaxus keeping that pit clear. And of course, Baron is up. So Gambit have got vision on it. They're well aware of that one. And I do think the Baron bait is the safest call for Roccat. The threat of Gambit's team comp is very great. They're even on gold at 33 minutes. They're down in towers, but thanks to the fantastic dragon control that Gambit have had, they're keeping themselves relevant. I do still think Cabochard needs to get more tanky. He's currently just sitting on that Giant's belt, and he's got a mixture of stats, but you contrast that to Xaxus, who's got his Morellan Omicron and Death Cap. Those shields and Wild Growth are very, very effective at this early stage in the game. He's got 172 magic resist. It's not too bad. Not at all. Consider most of the damage will be coming from Xaxus and Overpow, but of course Celaver can just rip him apart. The key problem is that Overpow's going to be shredding all of his resistances, and with the damage amplification Kayle can also have, through shredding those resistances, it means Cabochard needs all of the support of Loulex as well. And just look at Roccat. They keep trying to play this vision game. They keep trying to get superiority around the Baron pit, and they're not forcing Gambit's hands until now. Xaxus is split pushing in the bottom lane. He's going to try and make Gambit decide. Defend bottom tower or go for Baron. And Roccat have to be very decisive in this 4v5. Cabochard fancied his chances with Overpow there. He forced straight up into his face. Has stepped away this time. He's going to have to hold out, and they may try and flank around here. Jankos was coming up the side there. Nick is out of position, landing the spears still, though, onto Jankos. And Roccat do force Gambit to go back into defensive position. Yeah, and Nidalee with their pounce is so difficult to lock down. And unfortunately for Roccat, they keep eating spears. Every time we look at them, it's just tink, tink, tink. And Nick keeps connecting. And I do think it's going to come down to wards. I would argue at this stage in the game, it would be worthwhile for Xaxus to sell one of those Dawn Rings, stock up on 4 or 5 wards, and just keep playing this vision game. Gambit had vision there. They saw Roccat back away. They could quickly try and rush this Baron here. They've got teleport up on Cabochard. They're actually just going to use it to try and flank in and clear vision. They could have started that Baron quickly. They could have, but I think without Cabochard there, it may have taken a little longer. He does have teleport, of course, but you don't want to use teleport to start a Baron unless you're 100% certain. Kog'Maw and Cabochard probably could have shredded that very, very quickly. But again, it's just a vision game. It is all about wards. It is all about who can spot their opponents more than yesterday. We did actually see more wards placed, more wards killed than an average LCS day of 4 games. And ironically, it's Gambit and Cabochard with a successful split push because Xaxus, he didn't extend past the inner turret line. That tower's going down, and it's going to be another one. Cabochard taking this, and Roccat doing 0 to react to this. Loulex stepping off the side there. You can see they're going to start off the Baron. They're getting good vision from the Kog'Maw ultimate. Cabochard continuing to push. They're just going to keep throwing these spears. They're going to force Cabochard to teleport in here. They're going to have to go for this. He can teleport to the plant if he wants to, and he's doing it. He's coming into the plant. VandeR's going to be the man at the front there. Loulex flashes out. Intervention used on VandeR. Gambit are going to force him out of the pit. The spear comes through, catches on VandeR once again. So Gambit take themselves a turret and defend the Baron.
Intervention and Wild Growth on the same target, which was the support. Gambit did not commit further past that Stranglethorns, so it was able to zone Roccat out, and because of Gambit's positioning, they're going to get the mid-inner turret as well.
Rushing straight in the mid there, Cabochard happy to tank this one through. Kayle coming in, the minions will join this one. Fury putting as much damage down as he can. Roccat finally react to this one, but Gambit are slowly but surely clawing an advantage in this game.
Fast reaction. It was interesting to see Cabochard tanking the tower up and not actually going to auto-attack it. He had his dash and his slow if he wanted to escape, but instead had only relied on Fury. So 50% of that HP down. Dragon has respawned. Gambit have got better positioning for it, and it looks like Roccat are toying with the idea of Baron. They don't have a massive amount of vision, and ultimates are still missing on some key members of Gambit, whereas Roccat have got all except for the box available.
Nick needs to tank this one out. Loulex is very low. He's not getting any regen. Roccat are going to start this one up again. Nicky's not there. There's no spears following through on this one. Gambit may well have given it up. You can see they're trying to desperately to keep them away. Getting vision. Fury again. Overpow waiting in the pounce on towards Cabochard again. They tried to peel off. They've not finished yet. Baron taken down to 2,000, 3,000 hit points just off the side there. Death sentence does not land. 4,000 hit points. Roccat peel away once again. And Gambit defensive duties hold strong.
Yeah, the poke from Gambit is very, very high. Blades of Torment from Aatrox, the spears from Nick eventually, and the poke from Fury was working in their favor. And if Hiiva had had Stranglethorns, I think they would have looked to engage. Roccat trying to force the objective, knowing that Zyra's Stranglethorns was not there, was the smart move. They predicted the dragon. They responded with Baron. But they simply don't have enough damage. And of course, Overpow was running defensive duty. Because Overpow was not on Baron, you could argue, if he was hitting it, they may have been able to rush it down. Instead, Roccat played a little safe, and nothing gained, nothing lost.
Infinity Edge picked up by Fury there. Big upgrade there, had a lot of gold stacked on there. That's a lot of damage now that Fury will put out. And honestly, he's been untouched in the majority of these fights. He's been sitting off the side because Cabochard's been getting in their faces, as well as Loulex, and they've kind of been the focus targets. So Gambit, honestly, for me right now, I'm looking pretty strong in this game.
Completely agree. And in our pregame, we said if Gambit can be more decisive in the late game than Roccat, they legitimately can win this. Roccat did not look convincing yesterday. They didn't look concerted in their decision-making. And we're seeing the same things here. There's hesitation, there's a little bit of mixed calls, and it feels like Roccat aren't sure how to get onto those inhibitor turrets. They've done a good job of getting all of the inner turrets. They've had pretty good jungle camp vision and control, but they haven't touched a dragon. And it looks like Roccat have said we don't want dragons, because they haven't contested at all.
Celaver once again goes in, pink ward down, clear the wards. But Baron not touched. Nick not landing the spear this time. Overpow clears out that top wave, gives his position away, and Gambit try and take advantage. Remember, they took a lot of hit points off this mid turret already. VandeR's going to come around. Celaver going to try and keep that wave clear. Cabochard can tank it if they want.
So I've been talking about how Roccat can push past inhibitor turrets. For Gambit to do it, they need to get Loulex and Cabochard to flank and engage. You know, once Loulex and Cabochard start a fight, Hiiva's Stranglethorns can be the tool that ends it. That can knock Roccat up. We do see all of the ultimates available for Gambit, and they're trying to, again, it's just vision. They denied it from Roccat, tried to force Rocket's hands, but Xaxus made no movement of leaving the bottom lane, so I think calculated decision from Gambit that they weren't going to commit for the objective.
You know, despite the fact that they keep clearing, there's visions, there's wards are rattling through, and they have to keep vision because they have to see where those wards are going. Xaxus is getting a good job on this bottom wave, though. He's going to keep on pushing. Gambit are trying to call his bluff here, pushing down towards the inner turret of their own. They can get this turret down, but Xaxus, he's going to get a lot of damage on this.
Yes, he's got a Lich Bane built up. He could have also teleported behind the members of Gambit. Gambit now peel away. They've not decided to commit to the inner turret. And Xaxus, he's sticking to that turret. He's going to get this one for absolutely nothing.
Xaxus takes down the inhibitor turret. Gambit slow to react. Cabochard finally back there. It's going to stop the inhibitor going down, but they have opened up Gambit's base, and that was a little bit of sloppy play. Somebody needed to go back a little bit earlier. Of course, no teleport for Cabochard, which is why he was reluctant to go there. Trying to call Xaxus' bluff did not work out for them. You can see right now, Fury has got a lot of damage once he needs it, once he gets it, once he can load on them, but Overpow is becoming a scary beast right now, I feel. Once we see him actually get involved in the next fight, which has been a while, by the way. We haven't seen these guys fight for a long time. There's going to be a lot more damage picked up by both teams.
The scary thing for Fury is his positioning just has to be so immaculate. If Lulu gets a Glitter Lance on him or a Cocoon or a Death Sentence from Elise and Thersh, there's no, you know, save me buttons. You're going to have a big heal from Nick, of course, if he's in range. But outside of that, no intervention, no wild growth. So Fury needs to make sure he avoids getting caught and uses that Bioarcane Barrage range to its absolute maximum. In order for Gambit to win those fights, it really is dependent on him to stay alive and to keep attacking after the wild growth and after the intervention have worn out. Hourglass picked up by Nick, that's also relevant because it can afford him all of that safety. He can mitigate some of the time on those Righteous Fury swings. Cabochard, it's going to be an interesting duel. He's got a lot of MR, he's got Randuin's, and we'll see if he can stick to Xaxus. I think that's going to be the key. He needs to make sure the slow from wild growth and Glitter Lance don't negate him. Do not want, I believe is the terminology.
I think only in England you hear fight, fight, fight. It's a playground term that's managed to find its way into League of Legends Wembley Arena, which is impressive in itself.
We'll see how this works out. Again, vision. It's all vision from Roccat. They simply haven't got deep enough wards and they're running very scared.
So, what are they going to do? That's the question. 43 minutes I've been asking myself that.
Something
I'm
would be
hoping
good.
they're going to do something sooner or later. 6-5. High kill game after that challenger match, that's for sure.
It's just indecisiveness. Gambit haven't tried to flank. I don't know if they fully understand how even they are. Maybe they feel like they're further behind thanks to the map play that Rocket's had. And for Roccat, they're simply too scared of Gambit's comp to push into their territory. Rocket's vision has been suffering. They've spent more time in denying Gambit's wards in Baron Pit than they have in gaining a foothold in Gambit's jungle. So both teams have just said, this is my half of the map. You stay on yours, I'll stay on mine, and maybe one day we'll let this tug of war actually become a real fight.
Nobody wants to lose the tug of war, that's the problem. Overpow is going to wait in the bush. He may find Hiiva actually. He's going to take a peek. No, just going to use a plant. And back away.
So I would dare say it's at this point in the game that Rockat's mindset shifts from only focusing on the game to thinking about how long it took them to close out yesterday and how important it is to beat a solo queue team. Gambit are miles away and this is getting shredded.
Yeah, this is sneaky. There's only going to be Hiiva nearby. He's going to get vision now. It's too late. That's Roccat getting the Baron.
Yes, Stranglethorns maybe? No. Now, if Overpow had been on the Baron earlier, if Overpow had been on the Baron earlier instead of trying to zone out Gambit, that could have happened about 6, 7, 8 minutes ago. But because Overpow had decided to play the zoning game when they were pulling Gambit towards them, it means the Baron wasn't there. Roccat secure their second Baron of the game. They did a decent siege on the last Baron they had, but now they have to overcome Gambit. They know Stranglethorns is down. They know it's not available, and it's not going to be available for at least another minute and a half. So please, Roccat, try to siege up these either bottom lane inhibitor or inhibitor turrets because you've got openings available to you.
Well, gold continues to be fairly even. This dragon will even things up. Give me another chunk for Gambit. That's another dragon secured. They've been on point with dragons, that's for sure. Fancy points secured, 7 out of 7 now. This game is reaching the 46-minute mark and no sign of aggression from either team just yet.
None whatsoever. Rockat's victory yesterday was 47 minutes. They look to extend this match, and it does look to be a push. Roccat have grouped up. There is an exposed inhibitor, which of course makes life a little easier in dealing with Zyra. And finally, they've moved up. Also look, Overpow is pushing middle. Overpow's pushing middle, so Gambit are going to be able to play multiple lanes if they go that route.
Roccat finally going to push the open exposed inhibitor in the bottom lane.
How long till they back away?
No tower there. Can they get on towards it?
In theory they can. How many spears does Nick need to land to push Roccat back? That's the real question. There is regen from Baron, there is heals from Kayle. Ooh, that's a big spear. The heal is not necessarily evening it up. And Roccat have to get in range of this turret, but the minion waves are being killed very, very quickly. So look, Rockat's playing it super safe.
The cleave clear that Cabochard has. Fight! I'm with you guys. Come on, fight! Finally, hopefully we're going to get a fight here. Jankos has to land one of those cocoons. That will start everything off. There's
He
the
got it.
cocoon.
Are they going in?
No, that's the hook. But it's Cabochard. They don't want Cabochard. That's not the target they were looking for. VandeR takes damage from Fury. He's going to take another spear as well. And that's Roccat going to back out of the base.
So the question was, how many spears did it need to connect? 2, I believe, was the number. Unfortunately, VandeR not able to lock down Nick. And that means Roccat are not going to commit. And you can't blame them. You really can't. You don't want to jump into a fight against Stranglethorns. It's just that simple. Joe said it yesterday. You don't get points for finishing flashy or finishing fast. You only get a win for winning.
I'm glad you clarified that, Trevor.
Yeah, I realized, I'm like,
where am I going? Don't know, do not know. Jankos lands the cocoons. Cabochard again, not the man you're looking for. And again, Fury, a single shot there, shredding almost 1,000 hit points off Jankos.
So, interesting story with hashtag cool story bro moment. There are more dragons secured in this game than any other game in the summer split here in the LCS, and all of them have been secured by Gambit.
Oh, that middle turret almost down. Overpow's been sneaking in every time, heals himself up. There's buying time for the rest of Roccat down the bottom to get more damage on the Hiiva. Finally, they get on towards it. Gambit have to start reacting. The middle turret is now also very, very low. Roccat are going to roll on round in towards this middle turret. It only takes another hit. Spear lands on Celaver, may slow him down briefly. Gambit now, they have 5 men defending the mid. Look at this top turret though, you can see minions doing the job for Gambit.
That is a massive amount of minions. That's going to secure the tower, and Gambit are going to reply. Roccat have got a lot of damage on that mid inhibitor turret, and with super minions bottom after 4 waves of minions pushing in, that will give them the tools to continue the siege once Baron wears off. It doesn't have the longest of times, and actually I think it did just time out a moment ago.
They used the entirety of Baron to take down an undefended inhibitor.
Hey, but it worked. That's what matters.
It did work.
Objective secured.
That's true. 49 minutes now in this game.
No one's dealt with that top lane minion wave. For Gambit, it's going to continue pushing to that inhibitor. And Roccat just keep eating spears. Veggie, get these guys some dancing lessons.
How confident do they feel? Cabochard can teleport to that wave. Take that inhibitor down in seconds.
Without a team fight victory, I don't know if he will. It's a risky play. If Cabochard were to make that, it would cost them their middle inhibitor. But look at the damage.
He's not doing it.
There's siege minions there. It's only just gone down.
Come on, Cabochard. You can do it, buddy.
Oh, Roccat finally recalling. It's a little late. I mean, 50-60% of their tower's HP is already shredded.
They're pushing down the mid. They're going to take the inner turret. Loulex and Fury, they're going to push on towards this one. They should be able to get across, but they don't feel confident enough to do it. And they back away.
Indecisive play from both of these teams. Roccat had no idea really what they were doing in that middle lane. They backed away so late. They ended up losing the inner turret. They ended up losing 60-70% HP on that inhibitor turret. Baron's worn off. Cabochard's done a good job of controlling these super minions bottom lane, and it's just going to be a matter of who makes the biggest mistake in the next few minutes, because neither team is forcing their opponents to lose. It's going to be who gets caught out or who makes a mistake, because teams are playing to lose, they're not playing to win.
Super minions are still pushing down that bottom lane, don't forget. Roccat are reacting, they're going to move in, they're going to get their positional advantage. Baron will be up in a minute's time along with the dragon.
Let me deliver that line correctly. They're playing to not lose, not playing to win. That's the correct thing I wanted to say.
That's good.
Yeah.
Glad you cleared that up.
Yeah, I had to. I was like, hang on a second. I'm confused.
It's still even in gold.
The 377,243rd ward killed today between Roccat and Gambit. Please cry for them. Many awards has been manufactured. It's good business for the ward makers.
That is for sure.
It's literally the only thing that's happened for 30 minutes.
Everybody hitting max items. Even the supports are starting to stack out. You can see that Leandros was picked up a while ago for Hiiva.
Oh, go Overpow, go. He's found Loulex.
Loulex is dead. He's not getting out of that one.
Oh, he
flashed away. Anything to help him? No. Nick's now going to get caught out here. Celaver goes in. That was all they required. Just a little bit of vision in the jungle. It wasn't to be. And Roccat push on in.
So the middle inhibitor turret is low on HP, but there are minions in the top lane. So keep in mind, if Roccat get this one, they can roll down to the middle lane and try set up another objective. Super minions are pouring in the bottom lane. Roccat, they're going to commit. Can they get caught out?
Fury catching on towards VandeR, putting a lot of damage down towards him, but that is only the support. Meanwhile, Celaver putting the damage back on Cabochard. They're going to push in towards this inhibitor turret. Now super minions on the Nexus area as well. They keep on pushing through. Roccat, can they close the game out, or will they step away again?
That's a big spear onto Celaver. The rest of Roccat are on the inhibitor.
Quick shield on towards him. He'll go in. Xaxus gets the spear. Hiiva's caught out. He's only just respawned. Stranglethorns goes down. VandeR is going to escape this one. Fury wants to chase, but nobody's with him. Fury has to step away. Cabochard goes in. He's got the blood well available. Fury, can he land the damage down? No, they're going to mitigate it very well. Cabochard goes back on. Overpow comes to the side. He just cleans his way through Gambit, and they just drop like flies. They do manage to get a kill with the passive there at the end, but Roccat can clearly finish the game off here. Can they push on through? I think they can.
They've got the numbers, they've got the damage, as long as they don't eat the spears. Roccat, after 52 minutes, playing this one by the numbers. All three inhibitors are down, and I think, oh, how brave are they?
You dare, bro.
Celaver's going in. They're on the Nexus turret.
Xaxus has got teleport available. He's gone back to buy. Overpow's in there. Celaver's going aggressive. The Nexus turrets will fall. 53 minutes into this game, Roccat will finally close out Gambit in what has been the longest, most passive game of League of Legends in a while.
That is definitely the case. Roccat 4-0. Back-to-back weeks of 2-0 records.
4 wins on a row now for Roccat. They actually have the highest win streak still in the European LCS. They climb their way up the table. How high can they go?
Well, it wasn't flashy, but it was finished.
That's for damn sure.
And it came down to the fact that Roccat finally had aggressive positioning. They managed to put themselves in a spot where they could take Gambit out. And Loulex was unfortunate to run into members of Roccat, but it just took so long to create that opportunity, so long to be in that position.
That was definitely a long one. Gambit did a good job at keeping them at bay there. I think Nick and his team of subs will be happy. They tried to keep them at bay. Just wasn't a long one, but they